Thank you so much for sharing your Sunday with me. This is AfroEconomics Live, and I really focus on entrepreneurship on Sundays. The seventh principle of AfroEconomics is entrepreneurship, and it is huge in the wealth development of the Black community, in my opinion. That my sole goal, I believe that God's purpose for me is to bring Afroeconomics to us as individuals and bring it all the way home and talk about the legacy and the advantages of us exploring entrepreneurship. So as entrepreneurs, as people who carry that entrepreneurship mindset with you to the workplace, that we all need to have it, because more and more of your job is based on what? More and more of your job is based on bonuses, production, safety. All of that is about not even trying. They're forcing you to have an entrepreneurship mindset. They're for profit sharing. They want you to take ownership. So we, with that entrepreneurship mindset, have to refuse to be broke, right? Refuse. And that's why the website refuse2bebroke.com will bring you right here so you can get into events, you can get into your membership, you can get into everything. So refuse2bebroke.com or afroeconomics.com. Just use either and get to financial empowerment. So let's talk about the fact that income does not equal wealth. I want you to remember that income does not equal wealth. We had a wonderful Black Women of Excellence brunch yesterday. Full house in DC. I am so proud of myself now, but I'm so proud of the ladies who came out on a beautiful Saturday afternoon and shared some hours and got some financial empowerment. And the things that we shared, we had someone in their 20s, several sisters in their 30s, several sisters in their 40s, several sisters in their 50s, several sisters in their 70s. I'm not even exaggerating. And a sister in her 80s. She was inspiring all of us. I'm telling you, God is using Afroeconomics, and we are really doing some really good things. Entrepreneurs all in the room, people that retired from corporate America all over the room, just had a great exchange. Went through the book. Everybody that attended got a free book. It was just a great day. And I want to do that again next year. The Men's Day. I'm calling it Father's Day, June 9th. Father's Day. Members absolutely free. Your guests will pay a little bit. Men's Day, Father's Day brunch to focus on today's Black male and his money coming up in June. You'll get the information. So income does not equal wealth. Remember that, because your wealth is determined by what you do with that income. So you can make $1 million. That's why you have those super rich people. You see it on TV, you go, oh my God, how can they be so super rich? And they end up being broke. Well, because your income, if you don't use it to acquire assets, you can be broke. So when I talk about refuse to be broke, we're not talking to people who have no job, no aspirations, nothing to do with their life, and aren't even the least bit concerned. There are some people like that are very happy being broke. I'm talking to the people who refuse to be broke, bottom line. So let's talk about how we're going to make sure that we refuse to be broke. What is the value of your time? Have you ever taken the time to think about what is the value of your time? How much do you want to make? How much have you decided that you have to make during your workday? How much do you make during your workday? Have you decided how much your vacation day is worth? So look at how many hours you work. We can do it the simplest way. What do you make each week gross before taxes? What do you make? How many hours do you have to work to get that? And that's the value of your time. So also, even more importantly, how much do you want to make? How much do you want to make? If you're an entrepreneur, especially, how much do you want to make? How many hours do you want to work? And how much do you need to make each hour to acquire the goal that you have for the week, 2 weeks, the month, each half a year, and for the year? So how much do you have to, what is the value of your time? The value of your time is based on what you require, what is required of you in order to say, I've done a good job, I'm not going to be broke, I can save and pay all my bills, I can invest and pay all my bills. What is that? What is the amount? We just kind of live, accept the salary that you're given, don't ask for a raise. That too often, that's bad, that's horrible. We need to make sure that we're asking for a raise, that we know how much we need to make, and that you know how much you need to ask for, and you know exactly why, what is expected, what you expect from every hour of your day. So what is the value of your time? Key part of refusing to be broke, knowing the value of your time. How are you doing, Kathy Faye, Gwen, Yul, Bob Smith? How's everybody? I'm sorry, social media, I can't get to y'all. But yes, it's just good to be able to stroll down and see some new people in the webinar. But back to it. So know the value of your time. How do you spend your time? Right? We all have 24 hours in a day. You have a certain amount of that 24 hours. All of you might not be like me, where I can literally almost work 24 hours, or I can work all of that except for the hours in which I'm asleep. No, I can just go at it. And a lot of entrepreneurs can, we're sleeping, we work while we're doing everything, or we're just in constant work. You do some things, you work while you're eating, work. That's why I have to incorporate, exercise at the beginning of the day. So I said, well, I'm going to try to work out at the end of the day. Just does not work I don't think it works for any entrepreneur, especially not one like me, who's also a single parent with a child that has a whole bunch of activities after school. So I love 5 a.m., 5:30, 6, all of that time before 7 a.m., I consider that my time. So, you have to think about, how do you spend your time? How do you spend your time? What do you spend your time on? Is it generating income? Is it helping you? Is it empowering you? So do you believe in weekends, right? Who decided that? Who decided that you're not supposed to work on a weekend? Or the weekend is that's when you stop. Weekends really have become like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So many people, if you try to call some businesses on a Friday, their staff has already given up on Friday. If you don't get to them by noon on Friday, can I get an amen? So if you're in the webinar, I give you an amen on that. If you don't get to them by noon on Friday, that business has fallen apart. Their staff is not even trying to help you. They might be there answering the phone, but they're not. Everything is, okay, we'll do that on Monday. Okay, we'll do that on Monday. Okay, we'll do that on Monday. So I'm no, that I got to call you before 12. I got to, make sure any business is done before 12, because look, y'all don't even want to talk to me afternoon on Friday. But so we have to be conscious of these things that have been created for us. And if we haven't reached our financial goals, then we don't have to participate in that weekend. I worked Friday, I worked yesterday, I'm working today. We don't have to participate in that is the weekend, so you don't do anything. There's no way. God said he would rest, but I'm not God. I'm so extremely far from God. Wouldn't it be something if all of us realize we have recognized our Sabbath, but then we know that we have to also work, like, because we didn't get to that point where God did a whole bunch of work and then he was able to take that day off. Like, he did everything. He like created the whole world and then he got it. Like, I haven't gotten my whole world straight. So I have no problem accepting the fact that I have to put in some work. So, and if I'm wrong, I ask that God forgive me, but I just feel that I have not accomplished half of what God has for me to do. And I'm trying to maximize the opportunity to get to the people that I have to help, so allow him. I think that we need to look deeply in how do we use our time. Is there something that has been set up that is in our mindset that is not, Kathy said she likes that analogy. Thank you, sweetie. Look, not that I aspire for you to grow up and have to work as hard as I do, but look, it's not like I'm chopping down trees either. So for a lot of people, what I do is not hard work. And so it's all relative, right? It's all relative. So definitely we need to think about, is there just something that has been told, like some rule that has been given to us and it's not really working for us, that like this lady told me one time, you can't, it's unprofessional to bring your child to the workplace. Now I'm a single parent, and that I immediately went through a divorce after my child was born. I have to maintain my business. I have to take care of my child. You know what I'm saying? I have to do these things. And then somebody's going to tell you something crazy like that because it may work for some in corporate America. Without hesitation, I brought a nanny into my workplace and set up a nursery just like a whole bunch of other corporations have, which is considered a wonderful workplace because they provide daycare. But when you're a small business and you provide daycare and your child ends up being included in that, we're supposed to feel bad about that? X out the nonsense. If you're an entrepreneur, you have the ability to create your world. A client that does not approve of your family values is not worthy of being your client. Never did I have a client complain that I took care of my child close by me for the first 3 years of her life. And I believe it made a significant difference. But you have to, realize that you're going to have to make certain decisions that are going to have to be appropriate for you that may not be commonplace for everyone else. But that's part of entrepreneurship, having the strength of saying that I've got to do this because what I've chosen, what God has chosen for you to do is different than most. Even in corporate America, you have to do it this way. Maybe you have someone that your spouse might work on night shift, so you have to work on the day and then they go to work at night, but you both refuse to be broke, and that's what you got to do. It might not, hopefully you won't have to do it all the time, but you take advantage of the time where you do get to be together. But that someone needs to be there with your children, so you do what you got to do. We all need to do what we got to do. And so that is just to say, that question there was, do you believe in weekends? I don't. I believe you take your weekend wherever you can take it. If you don't have any meetings or you're off on Tuesday and Wednesday, that's your weekend. That's your break. And that's an opportunity to do some other things to generate income as well. Refuse to be broke. Do you believe in retirement? Who created that? I don't see historically like people got to a certain age and they just all of a sudden, were just pushed to the side and they didn't have to do anything anymore. Like, why do we have to give it to that? We don't have to do that. We can just say, well, that's the point where the government forces you at 70 years old to take out a certain amount of money because you can't put it off past 70, or you could start at 62, but you could still feel that you're not financially independent. There's a lot of people on Social Security who are broke, who think that they have to accept that because they think that they're old or they're in retirement. That's a joke. That's a joke. If you have something to provide, you have a service that's going to change someone's life. There's so many people who it took until they were almost 70 for them to make their greatest contribution to society. We are robbing our families and the society of a lot of very talented people because of this joke that at 65 or 62, that all of a sudden you have no contribution to make. People do so much better, if you look at the research, if they continue to contribute in some way through their entire life. So get your money, get your pension, but figure out something else to do. Refuse to be broke. Now, so I believe in financial independence, and I believe that you could be 25 years old and financially independent. But I don't think that you should work your entire career and everything that you're trying to plan for is something that is at 65 years old. I think every day that we work, we should be planning for financial independence. And that will help us a lot more than thinking I can start on that later, because that's not told then. That's not it. But if you're 20 and you're thinking I need to be financially independent every part of my life, that I need to be focused on accumulating assets that will create income for me so that I will be able to take care of my necessities from income from my assets that I've accumulated. People are born financially independent. It just doesn't happen with us a whole lot, but it can happen for your downline. It can happen for your legacy if we do what we've got to do. Refuse to be broke. So who do you love? And you say, like, what does that have to do with refusing to be broke? Well, I don't even need to elaborate it. Who do you love? Look at who you love. And if they're broke, most likely you're broke too. You got to be very careful with who you love. Like, you can love them, but you ain't got to be with them. If they insist on being broke, you're going to end up being broke too. That's a problem. It's different when somebody doesn't make a lot of money, but you don't have to be broke because you don't make a lot of money, because income has very little to do with wealth, because if they do the right thing with their income, then they can be wealthy. But if you have a little bit of income, but you do a lot of the right thing with it, you can be wealthy with a little bit of income. But I'm saying that broke is a person with a lot of money who makes a lot of money, but has a negative worth. They have assets minus their liabilities, and they can have a whole lot of stuff and be broke. And you can have a little bit of stuff and not be broke because you have no debt. You're not trying to show off. You don't have any debt. You don't have anything, but at least you're not negative 350 million, so being zero is better than negative 200,000 any day. And we need to realize that income does not equal wealth. Just because someone doesn't make a lot of money does not mean they're broke. Being in a lot of debt and not having assets that exceed that amount, that's broke. Be conscious of that. Be conscious. So who do you love? So that means you could have someone that you love that is very wealthy, not wealthy, making a lot of money, that has this huge job. They're a rocket scientist, but they insist on buying every luxury car ever invented, and that it's, worth nothing now, and they're not like collector's items, because there are all these new cars with payments, and they have no money. They're not buying them, because they're going to be some sort of collector item one day. I guess they are. They might be thinking that, but right now they owe more on that car than what that car is worth. And even though they're making a whole lot of money, then they insist on having the biggest house in the world, and there's only you two in it, and they just really cannot afford all that they want. And you don't want to be broke, but they insist on being broke. You need to be careful. You need to really talk to them about, we're not going into the right direction. This isn't good for us. Be very careful who you love and what their financial mindset. We did a session one time on financial compatibility. It's real. It's real. It's really real. So where do you spend most of your time? Where do you spend most of your time? Do you spend most of your time in nonsense, like in front of a television? No, or no, in a bar? Where do you spend most of your time? Or do you spend it reading, thinking about business ideas, communicating with customers, writing a book, studying something new, helping your children? Are you making investments? Because believe it or not, helping your children with their homework is a huge investment. Because if you can get that child to get a scholarship to college, that is a huge use of your time. And so, so where do you spend your time? Where do you spend your time? Are you doing broke things with your time? Or are you doing things that have no value, just, sitting around on the corner talking to random people who are not adding any value to your life at all? Or are you, actually doing things because you're thinking about new ideas, helping people? Even the fact that you're volunteering, you're making a contribution to society, and you never know, what good can come out of that, as long as you're volunteering at a positive place, in a positive institution that's doing some good things for society. But you can't even spend too much of your time doing that, because if you're broke, you've got to spend some time, most of your time, on things that are increasing in value or revenue generating, so that you can save and pay your bills, right? So where do you spend most of your time? How is your health? And we're talking about refusing to be broke. So the 10th principle of AfroEconomics is Black health and Black wealth, because your health is vitally important. So when you think about, like, where are you spending your time, and, why am I broke? Well, the majority, unfortunately, when you look at the statistics, the majority of people who lose their home or go through a foreclosure, it's not because they lost their job. It's due to a disability of some sort. So be very conscious of how you need to protect yourself as much as possible, and make sure that you're spending your time, productively. Like I was saying about, trying to get the exercise, because if you're an entrepreneur or just a person, but, especially entrepreneurs, we're under a constant level of stress. So we know that we need to be feeding good into us, because the stress is fighting against us already. You're born Black. We're dealing with a certain amount of stress from just cultural biases that we face daily. So we know we're dealing with a certain amount of stress. So we need to be aware of how we deserve to be good to ourselves. Who do you love? Don't expose yourself to a whole bunch of stress. Learn to love yourself, love your family, just direct your energy better. Talk to your family about why it's important to be healthy and make better choices. Are you frying chicken and frying French fries in the kitchen right now? Or are you making some veggies, So, and baking something. But we have to be, aware that our habits collect on us over time. Let's be aware. And so, do you have, and finally, my note was, do you have broke people habits? And that's pretty much what I was talking about, like broke people habits. Do you have broke people habits? What do you think a broke people habit is? A broken-hearted, broke person. Habit. Typically, they're sad, depressed, negative. You're not going to see a wealthy person. That's why I thank God for my career, because I'm able to be around so many positive people and able to celebrate such positive things. It's just a blessing to be able to help people get ahead, and to see the success stories. And yesterday, I just almost brought me to tears. Some of my clients were talking about how far we go back, and I wanted them to introduce themselves and talk about themselves. They introduced themselves and started talking about me. So I just basked in it. No, but it was a great day. But definitely it's, just a blessing. We need to be in those type of settings, and they're such happy people, generous people, giving people more, that's the opposite. But a broke person is too often mad at the world. And I'm not talking about that you have to have a lot of money, but I'm talking about people that on the outside look like they have a whole lot of money. And then you look at them, you go, why? What are they so mad about? They got what Maserati, and they're still walking around with an attitude. What did they be so mad about? But that just because of things, because remember I told you income does not equal wealth. And sometimes people get so much into things that they think that means that they make it look like they're not broke, that they won't be broke. But you can't tell what a person has by what they look like or the things that they spend their money on. That you can't tell their wealth. You can't tell if they're have debt up to the yin yang. You can. So you go around and you just think, well, they have everything. What are they so angry about? But no, they don't have everything. Just because a bank will loan you the money, that doesn't mean that you're acquiring everything. So when I want us to think about refusing to be broke, I'm saying that you want to make sure that everything that you acquire is affordable, reasonable, learning to live below your means, learning to focus on financial independence every day of your life, learning to be healthy and have healthy habits, and to spread love. We have to give more of it. And the more stress that we're under because of stuff, then the less loving that we can be, and the more broke you are because of stress. So it's real. So let's refuse to be broke by developing healthy financial habits and being there for each other and developing healthy relationships. And hopefully, if you are unhappy or with any aspect of your financial life, go to the website and check out the membership. It's very nominal. It won't add more stress. Hopefully it will enhance your life. We've been able to find some things in people's financial situation that, paid for the whole year just because of one correction, and they're like, it's just a blessing to see the things that we can accomplish when you have a team, when you have someone whose job is to watch out for your best interests financially. So, consider getting help if you feel overwhelmed or you see yourself, stressing out over money. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Refuse to be that way. Refuse to be broke. Refuse to be brokenhearted about money. Indeed. So thank you all so much for your time. Thank you. Ms. Sherman said, thank you for your continual encouragement. Thank you for your continual encouragement. Seriously, Ms. Sherman, you're a blessing. You all are a blessing. Thank you for expressing yourselves. Thank you for the webinar. Thank you for those of you on social media. I'll be checking your comments after we close out. If you all need anything, email me at jb@afroeconomics.com. Go to the website and click the chat now, and it will send me an email directly as well. The number is 1-844-JBBRYAN. That's 1-844-522-7926, and you can leave a message there as well. Know that we have offices in New York, in Washington, D.C., and Virginia. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you all. Have a wonderfully blessed Sunday night. Talk to you all next week, next Wednesday, for another AfroEconomics Live. Talk to y'all soon. I'm JB Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer at JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm and the home of AfroEconomics. Peace to you, Ms. Williams.